Welcome back, citizens, and thanks for watching. We'd like to thank all of our patrons and channel members. Thank you so much for your support. If you enjoy our content, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button to help the channel grow. In today's episode, we'll be visiting the Orion System and talking about its planets, features of interest, history, and lore. And that episode starts right now. The Orion System is a tiny system consisting of a main sequence dwarf M star orbited by 4 planets, 1 asteroid belt, and possibly 5 jump points within its 1 AU boundaries. The jump points connect the Orion System to the Caliban System through a medium jump point, the Tiber System through a large jump point, and to the Viking System through a large jump point. It is rumored that 2 other jump points exist. One of them connects to the Vulture System, and the other has an unknown destination. Due to being in a military conflict with the UEE, the system is declared military classified. First discovered in 2650, the Orion System was found to contain a single habitable planet, Orion 3, which would be named Armitage by the nav jumper Joshua Reese, in honor of its use spent in Stratfordshire on Earth. The timing for this discovery of a new habitable world was ideal, since proponents of the aging Project Far Star expansion program were looking for something to revive the public's interest in continued colonization. Using Orion as a rallying point, a strong colonial movement surged through the human homeworlds as politicians began to extol the virtues of reaching out for the galaxy. Within 5 years, Armitage was a bustling, developing world, buoyed by the discovery of a profitable load of precious metals in the system's asteroid belt. All this ended on August 9th, 2681, when mankind's greatest menace made their entrance. A heavily armed Vandal raiding party struck the main post on Armitage and slaughtered the colonists there. The UEE was truly taken by surprise. There had been absolutely no indication of an aggressive species in that region, and the contacts among the Banu had failed to mention the Vandal in any interactions. The UEE deployed research assets to the region to study the threat, ultimately determining that the Vandal considered Armitage to be a feeding world. Vandal war hordes seemed to travel nomadically, occasionally revisiting the past areas that they had identified as reservoirs of natural resources. As such, they considered Armitage their world. They were either nonplussed at finding a working human settlement on the territory they used for supply, or they were overjoyed at finding a new species of prey. Vandal attacks continued with the same frequency. On the first year alone, outposts throughout the Orion System had been raided 15 times, and the casualties among the colonists were devastating. Building up a military fighting force in Orion proved to be a logistical nightmare. The system was too far away to extend the existing supply chain, and a new infrastructure had to be rapidly built up to support the massive amount of personnel needed to defend the distant system. Despite this, the UEE was able to establish a viable force within Orion, so that when a major Vandal clan attacked in 2686, the Navy was able to push them back. That victory would give the government a false sense of confidence. The skirmishes over the next several decades were relatively minor, and soon there was talk of launching an offensive to wipe out the Vandal once and for all, as we had the Tavaran. Later, military historians would theorize that the Vandal were using this time to study us. It was on February 16, 2712, that a kingship entered the system from a previously unknown jump point to the system later coded VS09 Vulture. This kingship was the first one that humanity has ever encountered, and it left a lasting impression. Nothing had prepared Orion for an attack of this magnitude. The battle was almost over before it began. The Navy forces in the system received one heavy loss after another. Seeing an end in sight, officials called for a complete evacuation of the system in an attempt to protect what precious few survivors remained. The image of UEE fighters escorting a lengthy chain of transport ships away from the system remains ingrained in many memories. So why visit Orion? Some desperate humans who make the trip do so in an attempt to salvage the potentially valuable colony remains or other riches to be had in the asteroid belt. Others head to Orion with the hopes of locating new jump points, since the system was never fully explored before it was abandoned. And then there are those who arrive in Orion to blade, a growing trend of proving your flight prowess by actively engaging Vendul forces. There are numerous reports every year of foolhardy young pilots perishing while attempting such a dangerous feat. Orion 1 is a charred protoplanet that sits too close to Orion's M-type main sequence star to be of any use to either humans or Vendul. Orion 2 has an atmosphere of sulfuric acid that makes this smog planet an unappealing destination. Initial scans of the system picked up unnatural anomalies on the planet's surface that at the time could not be explained. However, in the light of the Vendul's interest in the system, some scientists are theorizing that the anomalies might be the result of some yet unknown xeno behavior. Armitage consists of bleak, wind-swept plains pockmarked with the after effects of Vendul antimatter bombardment, blast craters, and radioactive zones. Ironically, the ferocity of their attacks completely decimated much of the planet's indigenous species, which in turn reduced the resources available for the Vendul to harvest. A few abandoned farm modules still stand, and the skeletons of several human cities still exist in the form of wreckage overtaken by natural vegetation. Occasional Vendul settlement sites have also been found erected by clans foraging the surface. Surprisingly, the planet is still home to several enclaves of humans, living in sealed buildings, blacked out to avoid detection. They are the descendants of colonists who refused to leave when the UEE vacated. A hardy people, they are extremely insular and self-sufficient, with little regard for the Empire, who they believe abandoned their ancestors. Deposits of gold and platinum can still be located in the asteroid belt, but prospecting them is time-consuming, and transporting goods so far from the core worlds is a daunting logistical task. This gas giant earned its name, Abyss, thanks to its unusual appearance. The planet reflects so little light that it looks like a giant piece of coal. Prior to the Vendul invasion, Abyss had garnered a cult of admirers in certain sectors of the Empire. Some people even visited the system solely to see this strange planet in person. The following message is broadcasted from beacons in every nav point in the Orion system. The United Empire of Earth has formally abandoned this star system. The UEE cannot guarantee the safety of craft flying through this region. Travel at your own risk. Well, that's the Orion system. Thanks for watching. More systems will be coming soon. We'll see you in the verse, and happy mining!